I'm Kevin Casey. I'm a professional mixed martial arts fighter. And right now what I'm about to do is issue a warning out to all other competitors.
I don't want overs. I just expect them to happen.
Fatty's gonna fatty is real.
He is terrible!
We gotta know how many wieners are going down these dudes' throats.
I'm gonna go quick because I don't give a fuck about anything that's gonna happen on Saturday.
Hello, boys! How'd I do? How was it?
I'd give that a 7.6.
Oh, you didn't even grade me on like an A, B, C, D scale like Jay would have?
No, what?
We gave you the other Jay.
Jay does...
Oh, the movie reviews.
The movie reviews.
Well, guys, have we seen any interesting movies lately? I can review something for you. I watched Life on Netflix recently.
The hell is that
pretty. It's the one with Ryan Reynolds and Jake Gyllenhaal, somebody else. I don't know. What? But they find some shit on Mars, and then spoiler alert, it kills everybody.
Oh yeah,
I gave it like.
It always kills everybody.
Exactly, like a 4.7. Give that a 4.7.
That's 2 hours you're not going to get back.
Yeah, pretty much. Anyways, I'm here. I'm not Jay, but I can do a shitty Hello Boys and a shitty movie review. So you guys have that going for you. And joining me, Kentucky Wesleyan, the Sodsman himself. Wes, how we doing?
I'm cool, man. About to watch your favorite basketball team on the planet. Hopefully, get off in some butts. Our boy, Master Fade is back in town. Pulling out the fresh 6 shooters on this game. So we got a little action to cheer for. So it should be fun.
Hey, I get to cheer for my favorite team and the bet. It's wonderful. It's a beautiful thing. Nushan, we outnumber the Americans this week. How are we doing?
Doing well. A bit sad from last night and how our Raptors performed late. It was looking.
That's okay. I petitioned the NBA, and just like Game of Thrones, they're going to allow us to remake the fourth quarter.
Redo.
Hey,
big fan.
If Brook Lopez is going to go for 30 on you and bank threes like that, I mean, there's just not a lot you're going to be able to do.
Oh my god, that was fucking brutal.
It's just insane. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was a good game though. So hopefully the series will be like this because it was a good one.
Yes, not a great ending, but we'll deal with it. How are should we get a hockey update? I don't know what's going on in the hockey, so.
Hockey is a dumpster fire. Once again, the refs fucked over a team.
I even saw that.
Yeah. It was a hand pass right over to a guy that passed it to another guy and scored, and so they can't review hand passes. There's only a couple things that they can actually review. That's not one of them. And 4 guys on the ice didn't see a thing that I called out even before they scored. Just good times. I mean, they also missed
seems bad.
It's
being able to review that, you know.
It's bad. Like hockey's kind of slow to adapt to new things.
Everything.
Yeah. So it's the problem is the game is becoming so fast. The players are so big, and the refs can't really follow the play. Like they got to be looking for shit that's going on behind, like not in the play. Like there's some dirty stuff that goes on outside of that, and they really need to kind of adopt what soccer has with the VAR. Just to be able to radio down and be like, no, that was a hand pass, it's goal, it's no goal, or oh no, that wasn't a major penalty, just shit like that. They got to do something, and this playoffs has become kind of a boiling point. I don't know if there's been this many bad calls ever in a playoff. So
it's not even subjective stuff either. Like he used his hand.
Yeah, like that. That's just that's a cut and dry one, right? Like it's not like, well, he kind of might have touched the goalie. No, this is like a hand pass. You can't touch the puck and then your team touches the puck next. Like, so
it should be reviewable. Like that should absolutely be something that's
and like
easily looked at. You know,
and the whole thing is, it's just like in football where they don't want to slow down the game. They don't want to make the games like 3 hours long. So they're worried that, well, if we review everything, these games are going to take 3.5 hours to take place. I'm just get the plays right. Add an official that gets to watch the monitors from up above and just radio down. Like I said, the game is so fast nowadays. It's hard on the ice. I don't even blame these refs. Like there's some situations where they just can't see what's going on and they need some help. So it's unfortunate because the one team, the San Jose Sharks, have benefited by like 2 very, very bad blown calls. And they're the only team that I really want to lose, because as long as if they're out, then I make some good coin. But if they're in, then I am kind of fucked.
Yeah, there was complaints about VAR early, but the longer they did it in soccer, like they can literally like get offside calls and stuff down within 10 seconds now. Like it's a little stoppage, but I think most fans, even in like it was with the NFL, you just want it right. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it doesn't have to be the ref that makes the call that goes over and reviews it. And like, no, I fucked up. Someone can just tell them, yo, you fucked up.
Yeah.
Like,
And the fucked up thing about hockey is they can review offsides where a guy's skate could be a fucking quarter of an inch off the ice, and that totally cancels a goal, but they can't review something like a hand pass. Like, they've overreacted to certain things and then underreact to others. So it's going to be an interesting offseason to see what comes of it. I just hope, hopefully there's no more blatant bad calls, because we don't really need that. It's kind of ruining the playoffs.
Indeed it is. Wes, you got anything, any horse racing or any NASCAR that we need to know about?
The Preakness next weekend? When is that, Wes?
No, that's this weekend.
Oh, okay.
The owner of the horse disqualified in the Derby is like suing now, saying
really
their constitutional rights were violated.
Oh my god!
What?
Like, yeah, dude, they're suing. Like it's all about the money, like all the money that comes with being the Derby winner. But what's so hilarious is like, it was a foul. Like it was a blatant foul. Like I said it after the race. Any other day, any other race at any track on the planet, that dude's disqualified. But yeah, they're suing. That should be fun. But yeah, Preakness weekend.
Is that horse racing?
What the fuck?
No, they're not going to the Preakness. No, they're kind of like they're pulling out of everything so they can like file a lawsuit and all this shit.
And is the
hopefully when they stud that horse out, he doesn't pull out. Ooh yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
It's the thing. Like that's the reason to sue though, because like they probably
they don't. Yeah.
Yeah, they're probably going from like say $200,000 a baby to probably 50, and you're talking hundreds and hundreds of pops, so it's a lot of money, but it's not going to work. But yeah, there's no reason to like, take a horse like that to the Preakness, risk anything when there's nothing really on the line. But yeah, it's funny, man. It's all about the money and everything.
Was the original favorite, is he back to being healthy? Is he running the Preakness, or is the Preakness just a dumpster fire this year?
Yeah, it's a dumpster fire. The winner's not running. There's like 2 or 3 Derby horses running. It's just one of those years, man. It happens from time to time. So it's still there's lines on it, and you can bet it.
There it is.
And it's a party up there. Like the Preakness is literally like rivals the Derby. I've heard as far as like infield parties. So I'd like to get up there to one day, but I fear I'm getting a little bit too old for that shit. I don't even go to I don't even go to the Kentucky Derby anymore. I'd rather sit on my couch and bet on my computer.
This is the one that all my Lax Bros go to, isn't it?
Yeah, up in
Baltimore.
Baltimore, yeah. It's supposed to be just an absolute party up there, man. Which they all are, like the Belmont. You know, it's up there in upstate New York. They party, but I've heard the Preakness is fucking wild. They do they literally set up a stage and do like infield like a big like music fest almost during the races. You know what I'm saying? So like the infield's got fucking hip hop groups and shit and teenagers and motherfuckers just partying, not even paying attention to anything that's going on literally right around them the entire time.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's usually a pretty cool scene on TV.
Cool. I understood hardly anything of what you said that whole time, but I'm glad we got to talk about it because there's not really any MMA to talk about.
Well, we got LAX playoffs this weekend.
Yeah, quarterfinals this weekend, and then Memorial Day weekend always the semis and the final.
Nice.
So
actually, I'm up and even from the last couple of years, my LAX watching has increased.
It's fun once you know what you're watching. It's fun.
Or
the shot clock this year definitely helped.
It could be brutal as hell too when you do know what you're watching a little, and you have money on one side, and you can see that they're absolutely pissing themselves all over the fucking field.
Yes.
That's good, man.
We've had that a couple times this year. Anyways, moving on to last week's UFC 237 card. I watched hardly any of this, so you guys are going to have to fill me in on what happened. I'm just doing all the prelims because I don't know what was shown where. But Viviane Araújo knocked out with an overhand right Talita Bernardo. Those are people. Raoni Barcelos, ground and pound, TKO. 4 minutes, 49 seconds, round 2, over Carlos Huachin. What did they say on the broadcast? Do you guys remember? Did you watch this?
I think it's the second one.
The Huachin?
Yeah, something like that.
All right. Luana Carol. Okay.
It's how it's spelled.
Clay Guida beat BJ Penn. That was probably awful. Warley Alves made Sergio Moraes Mr. Happy. He made him sad. Knocked him out. Thiago Moises beat Kurt Holobaugh by unanimous decision. I assume Kurt Holobaugh did stupid shit in that fight because he does stupid shit in every fight. And Ryan Spann beat Lil Nog, and that's sad. That's one of many sad results on this card. Wes, anything to add?
Yeah, I found it kind of funny that there was a lot of people that was laying like a massive line on that chick fight, which is it's kind of hilarious.
I didn't look at either of them, and just blindly I was like, oh, no chick that's opening up any card ever should be minus 300 or minus 400 or whatever the fuck she was. So I just picked the other girl out of principle.
That's just smart. That's just good capping right there.
Yeah,
I mean, I didn't bet it because I don't hate myself. But.
Yeah, but you still got them Toastmaster points, and that's what matters.
Just imagine you could have paid fucking money for that shit, but that's neither here nor there. Man, BJ Penn actually looked about as good as he has in like 7 years.
That does not matter.
Did he look motivated?
He actually looked a tiny bit motivated.
And then what happened?
That doesn't matter. He needs to quit, man. When Clay Guida though, like a 37-year-old Clay Guida, who fucking looked like trash for a couple rounds.
The thing.
I mean, and then he hurts BJ like it's time to. I don't want to see neither one of them again. Like they should really both give it up. Wiley looked good, man. That guy's a little underrated now. Like I think as much as we overrated him for a couple years, he's starting to be a little underrated, man. His cardio is not what it was. The guy's got a good 15 minutes on him.
28.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, I think he's really underrated now, man. And we should watch out for Warley again, man. That he's worked on his weaknesses, man, and it's it's showing. Yeah, you're right about Hollabaugh, man. That was a crazy fight, though, dude. Like the scrambles and stuff in that fight were pretty good. And then, yeah, man, Spawn at like minus 115 against Little Nog. I mean, I hated to see Little Nog go out like that, but Jesus, you bring a 50-year-old to a fight, and he made the walk. I'll give him that. I'm surprised he didn't come out in a wheelchair, but that line on Spawn was crazy, man. Yeah, pretty good fights.
Sean?
Not much here. Just kicking myself for not hitting Spawn like Wes did there. Like just a gift. I mean, we know what Little Nog is at this point in his career. I still don't understand how he was 2-1 in his last 3. Just think how bad those fighters are that lost to fucking Little Nog.
Alvey.
Yep.
I mean, I'm still even kind of shocked that he did that to Alvey, to tell you the truth. But
that's kind of shows you how far Alvey has dropped.
Yep.
But yeah, not too much else than that.
Yeah, there were a couple spots on this card that I picked the guy who ended up winning, who was the obvious younger guy to beat up the old corpse, but I just couldn't bet them out of principle. So I don't have principles, kids. They don't do you any good. Main cards,
especially when it comes to betting.
Yeah, exactly. Main card, Irene Aldana defeats our girl Betchy. Apparently it didn't matter if she submitted her or not.
Which is bullshit.
But she beat her in the 3rd round, armbar. Anything on here, guys?
I was pissed double time because I had the goes to decision in a couple parlays, and then also had the flyer on Betchy by decision, and all that shit went up in flames with like a minute and a half left in the fight. Pretty annoyed that we would have been pretty pissed if it came out, the scorecards come out and if Betchy won that last round and we still lost, like, oh, that would have been annoying. So I guess it's not the worst thing that she got armbarred.
Wes?
Yeah, what Sean said, I'd have been absolutely pissed if that made it to the cards, and it so happened she won the 3rd and we lost. I'd have been, yeah.
Irene Aldana isn't good. People wanted her to be good for a while, but I thought this would be an opportunity to fade her, and kind of looked like it, but not really. There'll be another one. Don't worry. This Argentinian kid, Laureano Staropoli, defeats
Stromboli.
defeats Thiago Alves. This was a kind of a fun fight.
Yeah. I'm still surprised that Alves is putting on fights like he is. It's actually kind of surprising, really. I'm still this was another one that I didn't have as much money here as I did on Spawn or anything, or another guy on the card, but minus 115, I believe it was, against an aging Brazilian vet like Alves. Yeah, I had to take that, but like I said, Alves put on a pretty good fight, man. He's still in some decent scraps, and his chin is holding up fairly well. So, I want to see him fight again far more than I do BJ Penn or Clay Guida.
Sean?
These old Brazilians, man, they don't know what to do with themselves. They don't want to retire because all they've known is fighting, and I don't know, maybe there's just nothing to do in Brazil. I don't know.
Doesn't this guy live in Florida like full time now, though?
That's true, but I just like the Brazilian kind of way of just holding on forever. It seems like
not a whole lot of marketable skills.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Yeah, like I don't know how much Alves is making. Maybe it's just worth it to fight these up and comers, but it's I don't know. It's not great for his long term health, especially when he is never going to get close to a title shot ever again.
He is actually a nice 6-9.
Ooh, yeah.
Going back to his GSP fight.
Very nice.
So it hasn't been a nice ride for him. Next up, we had well, this one. This is a thing.
Brad not happy.
No, it sucks too because it's not even like Volkanovski went out there and beat Aldo. He won a rather boring decision against literally the worst version of Aldo that we've ever seen, and it just made me sad. Wes,
yeah, go
Sean,
ahead, Wes. You can go, Wes.
Yeah. What Brad said, it ain't like Volkanovski went out there and just trucked him or something. Aldo even said after the fight that he was even really upset with his performance, that he didn't get off. And I believe him. I don't think it was any kind of like him getting old or something. Just we can look at his past 2 performances and know that Aldo's got a whole lot more than what he showed against Volkanovski. And I had some money on Aldo in this fight. It was definitely a heart bet because I favored Volkanovski slightly in this fight, but I mean, Aldo in Brazil, his last 2 fights, you didn't expect, that subpar of a performance. So, I hope Aldo fights again. I like him against these kind of guys in 3-round fights. He's got to show a little more than he did against Volkanovski, though. And, if Volkanovski, I guess, doesn't die in some hospital in the fucking Czech Republic or, Chile or wherever the fuck that he's laid up in some kind of fucking chamber right now. The dude's good, man. Like we said, I wasn't overly impressed with that fight, but that could have been a lot of things, man. He's fighting his biggest fight, Aldo, in Brazil, so I can kind of understand him putting on a performance like that. But Volkanovski is really, really good, man, and that guy's a problem at 145.
Even as worst, Aldo's a tough guy to look good against because he's so good defensively. You can't take him down, so it's hard, especially in a 3-round fight.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what the struggle was there. Like, it was nowhere near an exciting fight. I just think it was a really smart game plan by Volkanovski. We've seen how good Aldo has looked in 3-rounds fights, and he was able to kind of wall and stall him and use his movement and jab him
enough.
Yeah, and just do enough. And I mean, when you're that close to a title shot and you're going against a legend, it's hard to fault the guy for fighting the way he did, especially when the last fight he had against Mendez, where he got a bit reckless and got clipped. So not too surprised this is kind of the way it went, like a little more of a boring fight. What I was more surprised in this fight is Aldo got 0 rounds on the judges' scorecards. And Becci didn't get a round, like as we talked about earlier. I think
Alves didn't get the 3rd round on one judge's card, and he had that kid
on two of the judges' cards. So this, I think Canada is the new reigning defending champion of shitty judging,
of terrible judging
of hometown fighters, because it just seems like it's not a thing in Brazil anymore. I don't know specifically who the judges are. They probably aren't even. I don't even know if they're Brazilian, because they're not getting any of the close rounds. That's for sure. And the crazy thing is, in that Aldo fight, like, the crowd was silent when Volkanovski was hitting him, and they were screaming anytime Aldo touched him, and he still couldn't grab a round. That's pretty crazy.
I think we've come to the conclusion at this point that judges just literally score activity. That's it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So
I mean, yeah, especially recently. It seems like even if you land the big shots, another one was the Lineker fight. The Lineker, yep. Like he was obviously landing the more powerful strikes. He didn't seem to rock him, and he just, the other guy had more activity, and they gave it to him.
Yep, that's what it is. And I'm not saying Aldo won this fight. Like, as much as I wanted him to get a shitty, terrible hometown decision, he didn't deserve to win this fight.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on. We had more sad shit happening as, you know, the Black Alaskan Jew, Jared Cannonier, he just kicked the shit out of Anderson Silva, and his soul left his body through his leg. And as much as we want to see Aldo back, I don't think we want to see Anderson back, do we?
Not after that. Not after all the leg injuries that he's had, and even just kind of how he was fighting before this. Like, he's just not there anymore. I think he's content with making it to the fight and maybe doing some cool stuff, but he's just kind of just content to get in there, and he doesn't really seem to push for a win.
Yeah, looks like he's trying to have fun.
Yeah, have fun, and it's not the biggest deal if he loses. I think he's come to terms with that. Good on Cannonier for ripping up that leg. Those kicks were brutal. I was happy. I threw in a bet last minute on Cannonier when the price dropped there, and he got the win fairly decisively, I guess you would call it, even if people want to call it a fluke win.
Yeah, not a fluke. Wes?
Yeah, that was my other hammer on the card. What was Cannonier here at minus 110? That line was just a little crazy to me. Yeah, I mean, with Anderson and Otto, we got to remember Otto is 32 years old. You know, I mean, that's crazy to think about. Anderson is 44 fucking years old, man. Like, that's getting. I mean, think of guys like Randy and stuff like that, but, you know, 44, 45 is about fucking it, man. I mean, I don't care how good you were, how in shape you still are and shit. You just loosed. I mean, you can even see Anderson at 44, dude, just ain't got even the reflexes and he just ain't got half of what he had a decade ago. So, yeah, I don't want to see Anderson anymore, man. I mean, I go out like this. The dude hasn't had a bunch of, you know, just crazy getting knocked out cold and shit. He's going to be just fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was a little worried, though, he threw a kick before.
The body kick.
Yeah. And, he threw a couple kicks, man, though, that were worrying me because I thought he was going to hurt his leg on some of the stuff he was throwing, man. And then when Cannonier landed the kick that stopped him, I thought he broke his leg, man. Yep. I was like, oh no, Anderson done got his leg broke again, and then, you know, it was the knee. But yeah, we'll talk about it in the next fight too. Like, there's some morons in it. Y'all motherfuckers watch dudes and chicks knocking each other in the head. You know what I'm saying? Like, trying to give each other brain damage. And y'all are talking about people getting, he said, and some other shit that we'll talk. There's some dumb motherfuckers in this fan base, man. I don't get it.
Oh, I love when Wes goes old man yelling.
Wesley with the first rant of the week.
Oh.
All right, main event. I've literally only seen like a 2 or 3 second clip from this fight. So people have told me that Rose was kicking the shit out of Jessica Andrade up until the slam, but I have no proof of this. All I saw was her get dropped on her head like a moron. Sean?
Yeah, I had a big bet on Andrade, and I was very worried up until kind of when that happened. Rose came out, was just pumping the jab, using her footwork, looked very, very good in there. Opened up a decent sized cut on Andrade that had me worrying that they were gonna, you know, maybe look at it in a couple rounds and have to stop it. But man, Andrade, she lifted her up and almost slammed her in the first round. Rose was able to use the Kimura grip to kind of stop it, and it worked for her in the first. Did not work for her in the second. That's a dangerous game to be with a girl that is as strong as Andrade to rely on that Kimura grip. Rose was slowing down a tiny bit. Now, whether it's slowing down because of her pace was so high in the first, round and a half or what it was. Andrade was hitting her a bit more, but she wasn't hitting her in the first round. So it's hard to know. I was getting a little more positive about my chances when Andrade was doing a little bit better. And then the slam happened, and I know Wes is gonna go on a good rant here. I'll leave that to him. It was an awesome finish. I felt definitely lucky because Rose did look very good, and it was going to be tough to come back. Andrade to win a decision would have had to win pretty much all three of the rest of the rounds. And she had that kind of bad cut on her, so it was going to be tight. But so happy with the slam. Now you can do your thing, Wes.
Hold on, Wes. Before you start, I just want to state my official Twitter nerd position is that it's unfair that Jessica Andrade is a better athlete than Rose Namajunas, and she shouldn't be allowed to slam her. Your thoughts?
I think Andrade should actually have to take pills to reduce her testosterone. Thoughts?
Yes.
That's pretty good. Yeah, Sean's right, man. I've underestimated Rose, man, for quite a while. I mean, I've always thought she was pretty, she was decent, but
it was just a layoff, man.
Yeah, she looked really, really good, man. Like she looked really fucking good.
Best she's ever looked.
Yeah, that first round. I mean, I was even over
there.
She
should probably thank Connor.
Changed her life, huh?
Right?
Yeah, man. I was even over like, man, holy shit! Like she looks really fucking good. But I mean, Sean's also right. Like she did start to slow. I think it was a little bit of there. Few factors. The pace she was setting was really high. A lot of movement, a lot of circling around the cage because Andrade was just walking forward. But Andrade started to land in the second round, man. She started to land some stuff to the body. And I think it started to work, and it not as, everything about slowing her down, but it started to let her get inside just a little bit more and a little bit more. And, man, yeah, just the slam was, I think that's like the fourth slam knockout in UFC title fight history. And all those title fights, just the fourth. And yeah, that was probably one of the best slams that I've seen. I mean, Rampage has got a few. There's some other ones, but that was a pretty damn good slam. And like Sean's like, what are we supposed to do? Like, take away her athleticism? Like that was always her path to win this fight. It wasn't going to be sitting there dancing, having a boxing match with Rose. It was going to be trying to get inside, get a hold of her, and put a hurt on her. And that's what happens. I mean, the people complaining, man. It's just like I said earlier. What the fuck are y'all talking about, man? We've watched two people in a cage, literally trying to give each other brain damage for the rest of their life, and y'all are worried about slams and stuff, and people, they're going to be in a wheelchair the rest of their life. Well, they'll probably take a wheelchair over fucking Junior Seau, like shit. Brain. Yeah, applesauce brain putting a shotgun in their mouth and blowing their head off. Like, I think they take a wheelchair over some shit like that. But I mean, who are we to tell them? And then the rules are pretty clearly written out. It's like it doesn't matter if Rose is going to try to hold onto her arm; she can get slammed however the fuck she's going to get slammed. And there's even a video that I saw the other day that like Rose was tapping. Like, there's a video showing Rose like tapping 3 or 4 times on her arm while she was midair. Like, I'm done. I swear. Damn, I wish I could remember who posted that. But there's a little clip showing Rose like tapping her on her arm. I think she knew what was going to happen. But yeah, that was one of the coolest slams ever. And fuck you, idiots, man. This is cage fight, man. What are y'all talking about, man? Like, these Twitter nerds are like, this is our sport. We got sport now. We're on ESPN. Like, shut the fuck up, man. Like, can we get back to? I wish we could go back. I'd give all this up and go back to fucking searching this shit down on the internet if we could get rid of all these fucking morons. Like, seriously, I'd give up ESPN, all that shit. I don't care. I'll search for this shit on the internet if we could get rid of half these fucking morons that watch us now.
I think it was
that was the only way we could watch it back in the day. So like, and the internet's better now than it was then.
I think it was just a combination of multiple things. You had a finish that you basically never see in MMA, especially in the UFC and at a high level. It's a couple women fighting that adds to it. I mean, you didn't see much uproar when Robbie Lawler was trying to decapitate Ben Askren.
Oh, they loved it.
Exactly.
People were saying it was the best thing they ever saw.
They got different thoughts when it's a 115-pound women in there doing this, but and then I don't know, maybe it's just a Rose thing. Everybody thinks she's because of her mental whatever issues or
delicate little flower.
Yeah, so they gotta worry about her, but. They know these rules. I mean, they're supposed to know these rules, and I don't know. This is going to be a lesson to a lot of fighters if they know what's good for them. Probably don't hang on to the Kimura when you're going for a ride, or else you might get slammed on your head and knocked the fuck out.
I mean, 115 pound chick doing that is very impressive to me.
It was beautiful.
It was like straight up like. A chick of her size, like Andrade, doing that and knocking somebody's slick out is fucking impressive as hell to me.
Yep. I'm literally watching a GIF of Cormier slamming Barnett.
Oh, that was
and
sick,
people
dude.
thought that was all. And Cormier didn't even wait until he had the grip. He lifted him as soon as he reached for it.
Mm-hmm.
And people were like, "Holy shit! Look at that! He just flipped him over in the air. It's the coolest thing I've ever seen."
Yeah. I mean, weeks ago, like Sean said with fucking Lawler, literally weeks ago, that people were fucking losing their minds like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever, just said. He literally, like, slammed him on his fucking head, man.
Yeah.
Good times.
These guys are ridiculous. Anyways, this week we've got. Did we have anything else to add?
Do we want to touch on the two fights in Bellator? They were actually pretty big, high profile fights. We could.
Pitbull is the best fighter in Bellator.
Ugh, he cost me.
Yeah, me too. But God, I didn't know how to feel. I was happy, sad, bad.
Pitbull seems pretty cool, but it didn't matter what happened there because Douglas Lima knocked the shit out of MVP, and it was
glorious.
It was cool,
glorious, and the way he did it was awesome as well. I guess I shouldn't have tried to put those together, considering it was the biggest Twitter mush of a long. I feel like a long time. Everywhere I looked, everybody had that parlay. And I should have just rolled with Lima, but what can you do? It was a good finish, and then as soon as that Chandler fight started, I was just like, I had a bad feeling, just the way Pitbull was throwing and the way Chandler was just
because
fighting.
Chandler gets destroyed in every fight he has, even when he wins.
It seems that way, and I just had a bad feeling. I was like, he's gonna get clipped. He's gonna get clipped. And then he did. He got clipped right on the ear / back of the head, and then it was over after that. And Pitbull's now champ, Bellator champ.
Yep. Campeano.
That Lima KO, that's got to be pretty rare. Like I was having a hard time trying to remember something exactly like that. Some dude doing some fucking Brazilian fucking dance routine and shit, and get
he just
like
I think it was Fight Night 3 where they had the ragdoll physics where the guys, if you hit them with an uppercut, they would just slump to the ground. It's the only shit I can think of.
Yeah, it was wild.
Perfectly timed kick to the knee, and then just pinpoint uppercut to his chin.
I will say too that even though it was Pat Kern, I think that was a tough out, and I think AJ McKee could be really, really good at MMA. Like, I think that kid could be really good. Dude's training with the right people. Seems like he's got the right mindset.
Hell of a lot better than his dad, that's for sure.
Yeah, but I think his dad
was underrated.
His dad was underrated as the most boring fucking fighter ever.
I think that makes
but he
him
got
a
the
good
job
trainer.
done.
I think that makes him a good trainer, man. I think he's training
Yep.
him to learn good basic fundamentals and stuff. But I fear McKee needs to get out of Bellator eventually, or we're never going to see how good he really is. And I'm not sure if he's going to go because he's probably making pretty good money over there, I would imagine.
Probably.
He's one of the dudes. Anything else from last week, gentlemen?
No, I think we can dive into this glorious fight night card here from New York.
From Rochester. Ugh.
And it's some dumb shit's gonna happen on this card because it's in New York and dumb shit always happens on New York cards with the New York State Athletic Commission. So just be prepared, people. There could be some people getting fucked over or some weird shit happening.
Oh yeah, Des Green is going to end up knocking somebody out and getting disqualified somehow. Watch.
And then thrown in jail for manslaughter.
Manslaughter. Fucking people from Florida showing up serving fucking warrants and shit. You've been served right out of the cage.
The only thing I know about Rochester is they like lacrosse, so that's a plus. And they had, just the city is so shitty in general that they tried to make a Toronto-Rochester ferry when I was younger, and it was the worst idea. Absolutely terrible. Filthy. So, and that's a pretty good way to describe this card as well.
Yep.
Yeah. So, with that in mind, getting your hopes up, folks, we're diving in. I'm going to say that Julio Arce and Julian Eraser in the featherweight division is probably on ESPN+.
It is on ESPN. The whole card's on ESPN+.
Oh,
There you go. Look at that. I did my research, folks. Starting off strong. Hot out the
Solid
gates.
tape study there, Brad.
Wes, what's going on here?
This is one of quite a few fights on the card that's just got a massive favorite, and it's probably fully justified. I mean, I think Arce's good. His last outing against Shaman, I mean, it was a tough fight. I actually had money on Shaman in that fight. But I still think Arce's really, really good, man. He's going to be able to eat a Rosa up on the feet here, man. And he's a deserving minus 800 favorite. But I mean, what are you really supposed to do with that? Maybe if you want a little action, the Arce points handicap is probably parlayable if you want to go that route. I think it's around minus 350 or so right now. But he should absolutely piece a Rosa up.
Sean?
Yeah, I'll kind of get this out of the way. I think this is a pretty tough card to bet. There's a lot of big favorites that are probably justified, like Wes said, and it's tough to take those guys. But I did take Arce here. I got him at minus 570. I put him in a 3-leg parlay just for a unit. I think Arosa is terrible. Arce has kind of been a bit of a prospect here coming up. He's not the youngest. He's 29 now, but he's looked better and better every time he's been in the UFC. It was a tough fight against Moraes, like Wes said. I think Moraes is kind of always underrated. But I think Arce should be able to style on Arosa because he's just not good, and he's going to get his walking papers after he loses here.
Yeah, I kind of think that, that I'm on board with what you guys said in terms of definitely favoring Arce and thinking he's pretty worthy of the line here. I just think that the finish props on him are kind of backwards. I know that he likes to go for subs sometimes when he's got a guy hurt or tired. But in this case, I think that Arosa gets beaten up so much on the feet that that TKO prop at plus 364, which is a lot higher than it is most other places, is a pretty good play. Moving on up to the middleweight division, my boy Zach Cummins looks like a fucking troll that lives under a bridge, taking on the undefeated Trevor Evan Giles.
Wesley.
Wes.
Oh yeah. I favored Giles in this fight, but just slightly, man. I think this is just going to be a little bit of a grinding affair. I just think Giles is the little bit more athletic and younger guy at this point. Those type of scenarios seem to be playing out one way more than the other nowadays. And I just think that's the scenario here. But I will say, man, Cummings is a really tough out every single time. The dude can wrestle. He can grind. He can make fights dirty. And if he can get Giles into the second and third round in a fight like that, I would be a little bit worried. So even though I do favor Giles, I can't lay that kind of juice on him in this spot. But he'll be my pick, but ever so slightly. I think Cummings is a really tough out.
New Sean, two things. One, do you think that Trevin does in fact stand for Trevor and Evan?
I would assume so. That's the first name combo. Yep.
I mean, or it could be maybe a Devin. You never know. We have to talk to his parents on this one.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Second, do you think that the 18th month layoff is going to be a problem for the problem?
I think it could be here. I'm not entirely sold on Giles at this point. He did come up in LFA, LFC, what it was at the time. He's fought some pretty terrible guys once in the UFC. And he's only been to decision one time. He's got a lot of first and second round finishes. I think Zach Cummins could wrestle him and lay on him and tire him out and get one of those kind of grind out dirty wins. Zach Cummins is getting older. He's finally gone back to middleweight, which is probably a smart idea at his age. It is a bit worrisome at that age. We've seen, like Wes said, these younger guys taking out these older guys, but I'm not too sure about that one here. I kind of am siding with the veteran. I just put a small bet on him, 1 unit at plus 135. I think he can tire him out and maybe just get a shitty decision. Boring decision, not a shitty decision.
Yeah, I kind of like Cummins. I bet him in a lot of spots over his career, and I just look at the guys that Giles has faced. I know he's got the win over Spann, but that was a very, very different Spann who didn't really know how to fight at all at the time. And then his wins over guys in the UFC, James Boknovic has gone 1-3 since. Ugh. The one was against the dude that Uriah Hall spin kicked on Tough. Adam Sella. Yep. And one of the losses was this past weekend on Bellator to a guy who was previously 24-21 in his career. So that's a quality win, and his other UFC win, retired from MMA and hasn't fought since. He's only done jiu-jitsu. So he's beaten some quality opponents. So I'm gonna go with Cummins just based on that alone, because now he's facing an actual fighter. And speaking of Cummins, first cousin, maybe second cousin to Zach Cummins, Pat, taking on the gingerer injurer, Ed Herman. Wesley?
Oh my God, get the fuck out of here. Yeah, this is two applesauce cups going at it, and I'm fucking here for it, man. Yeah, these are
Herman's definitely the cinnamon apple cup.
A little sprinkle of that little cinnamon, huh? Yeah, man, these are two washed fucking Caucasians, man. I think one guy is, I wouldn't say less washed. He's just taking it a little bit better than another dude here, and I kind of like Herman in this spot, man. A little over 2-1. Cummings just getting absolutely smashed here lately. I know Herman. He's not winning fights, but I mean he's had some pretty tough ones. I thought you could have gave him the Vellante fight. Then before that, he hadn't fought in a while against CB. But man, just Cummings he's so bad, man. Dude just gets the shit beat out of him, dude. Herman gets us into the second or so. I think he's got a really good shot, man. So I had to take a little bit. It's more of a price. I know somebody I talk about inside the distance, which that might even be a little bit better of an avenue. I'll probably sprinkle on him inside the distance as well. But man, at 2-1 against Patrick Cummins, I'm gonna take a small shot. So yeah, Ed Herman for me.
Sean?
These guys are both fucking terrible.
Yeah.
This is a fight that is happening for some reason in 2019. Cummins definitely has a decent path to victory if he obviously has to get Herman down, and we have seen Ed Herman get taken down and laid on before. I do think there is a shot that Herman can tag that chin, and as we've seen in the past, Cummins has a pretty terrible chin. I still got to side with Cummins. I'll probably pick Herman in Toutmaster just because it is over 2-1. The bet I have on this is as Wes mentioned, I took Herman inside the distance at plus 390. I put that for a half a unit. I think that Herman could tag that chin, and then maybe even grab a sub if he gets him hurt there, or just pound him out.
Yeah, I really don't know what to think in this fight, because you've got some Cummins fights where he comes out and he can wrestle the shit out of a dude, and then other fights where he gets taken down 12 times by Corey Anderson. And then other times where he goes and takes down Glover, who's a pretty damn good wrestler, a bunch of times in the first round, and then gets his shit knocked out in the second round. So I have absolutely no idea how to read a Patrick Cummins fight, but there is 0% chance, that I would ever lay minus 255 on that dude. So if people are looking at this and telling you maybe go the other way, maybe go the other way. Moving on up. Featherweight division, we have something called Mike Trizano against Grant Dawson, who I've heard of and I wasn't overly impressed by. Wes?
Yeah, I think this is a fight of two kind of overrated younger prospects, but I think
the
one's
Caucasian over-Asian.
I ain't gonna be able to finish this shit with Brad on here, man. Yeah, the Caucasians are definitely overrated here. I just think one's a little bit more. Trizano coming off tough, man. I know he beat my boy Pena. That was a decent win, but I think we kind of overrated Pena. I know I did. I thought that dude was going to be really, really good, and maybe he still is. I like Dawson slightly more here. I liked him a whole lot more at plus 135, and I kind of missed that. He's actually going even up more as a favorite now. I'm probably not going to lay no juice on him here because it's going to be kind of a close fight. But I think he gets it done here. Trezano's fucking a karate dude. He teaches kids karate and shit. I just can't see Dawson getting caught with something if he can get this inside and make it ugly. So I think he can get an ugly decision here. But, man, I wish I would have got the plus 135. I'll probably have to pass on a bit.
I've just been staring at Dawson's record this whole time and kicking myself for calling Julian Erosa Julian Eraser instead of Erasure, and then playing A Little Respect, the classic by the British synth pop duo. Sean, what do you got here?
Jesus Christ. That was a fucking journey.
He's going.
I'm not impressed by kind of either of these guys. Trezano had an alright win against Pena, but there wasn't much to that fight. And I wasn't really impressed with Dawson and staying in there with Erosa. I thought he should have been able to get him out of there. I think Trezano obviously has the stand-up edge, and if Dawson can get it down and land some ground and pound, then that's where he's going to have success. How this ends, I don't really know. I'll probably pick Trezano. It's just no bet for me. I would rather kind of see how these guys do, and then I can kind of make a decision on them and play them or fade them in their next fights.
I've got nothing here, as you guys may have been able to tell. Next up, we have a welterweight fight. Denny Hot Chocolate. Right?
Oh,
I'm going on the right fight here?
Yeah, you're
That's the next fight.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Against probably the 35th Michelle Pereira to fight in the UFC this year. Wes, do you know who Michelle Pereira is, and why does it say he's the number 1 ranked heavyweight in Japan?
And honestly, I have not heard of this guy. I know
you guys have seen the video of him though, or the GIF or whatever of him just doing every kind of spin, strike, just useless.
Okay.
I have seen him, dude. Yeah.
This is the guy. Somehow he got into the UFC after that shit show, and this is who we're dealing with here.
Man, I tell you what, I was kind of looking at Danny Roberts here as a little parlay piece. But now I'm definitely going to use Danny Roberts as a parlay piece.
Right?
Like, dude, this guy, this Brazilian dude is a fucking, he's a wacko. Roberts knows how to fight. You gotta worry about him getting into the third round. I don't think he's gonna have to worry about too much against this guy. I'm going to take some Danny Roberts. I think he probably gets this guy out of here, man. This dude's a wacko. He's going to end up getting his toe caught in the cage or something, trying to do a backflip or some shit. Danny Roberts by a toe injury.
Okay. Wes, I don't doubt that could be how this goes down. But I'm looking at the Demolidor's record here, and this is wild.
Dude, he's fighting Wayne Chung tonight and shit. Wang Chung.
He fought Batman. He fed Batmonk, Borenzrig. That's an actual dude, and he fought him. He's got another fight that ended because of an injury due to cage malfunction. He beat Kurban Jiang Tuluosibaki. That's some Juma Bukake right there. Jambalaya.
How many fights does this guy have? He's
25 and he's already got 31 fights. And he's coming out of the Scorpion fighting system. This is going to be some wild shit that goes down here. So I'm ready. New Sean, what do you got?
This guy better not come in and try to fight like a real fight. He better come out with the bread and butter of just absolute spinning, rolling thunders, and everything that he.
You
can do.
dance with what brung you.
That's right.
You
like,
dance
don't
with
try
what
to show
brung
up.
ya.
You know why you're here. You're here because of that
exactly.
fucking video. Like he's 1-1-1 in his last 3. Like. You know why you're here. You're here because of that video went viral and we needed a fucking warm body. So don't pull some bullshit and just try to, point fight your way to a win. Fuck, who knows? Maybe he throws some wild shit and knocks out Danny Roberts. Roberts has been knocked out before. He's a bit chinny. You gotta side with him. He's actually an okay UFC fighter, so gotta side with him. I don't want any money on this fight whatsoever, just because, like I said, this is New York. There's some wild shit that happens. Who knows? Maybe this fucking guy just spins and does some crazy kick and knocks out Danny Roberts and then jumps off the cage and breaks his ankle or some shit. Who knows? Who knows?
Nothing would surprise me here, but at the same time, you can get plus money on Danny Roberts fighting a cartoon garbage man. I'm just saying that might be a thing. Next up, we've got the new Canadian hope on the Canadian young gun pound for pound list. I think he's got to be pretty high up there, New Sean. What do you think? He's going to be below TJ Laramie, but
he's not
he's
Caucasian,
above everybody
though,
else,
is he?
right? Yeah, he is. He's
This is
the
a
most
Caucasian?
Caucasian.
He's
French.
Oh,
En
shit.
français.
This guy might be number 1 on the list then.
He's Charles Air Jourdain.
Yeah, this guy is Caucasian as Caucasian can get.
Yeah. But yeah, he's coming in. He's, I've seen him a bunch of times on the regional circuit. As the proud Canadian that I am, and he's fun to watch. But he's going up against Des Green, so he's got an actual fight on his hands here. Wesley,
He looks like he's got a little Indian in him. Dot, not feather. Like, it's a little Indian.
Jesus Christ.
Seriously, though. He looks a little Indian.
It's just, he's a little brown. I mean, you never know. You never know.
Good tan. This pig might have been
Tans.
taken after a
Tans.
trip to the island, Barbados or something. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've seen Jourdain fight. I've seen a couple clips. Man, Des should roll here. He really should. I just, I get Des Green fights wrong quite a bit. I'm either on the wrong side of betting on him, trying to fade him. Dude runs over people and shit and turns into Superman. I just don't know. I don't know what to do with Des Green half the time, but he's the better fighter here, man. If he wrestles, he should be able to grind to a pretty easy decision. And I got him in a big chalk parlay with a bunch of other chalk on this card.
Sean, this is the guy, right? This is the hope that Canadians have been waiting for, right?
Yeah, but this is just a brutal first fight for him in the UFC. I mean, it was kind of
running a 9-1 guy, right? I mean, fuck.
Was this a lot? Was Des Green supposed to fight somebody else?
Not sure.
No, there was the only canceled fight on this card was Magny getting popped.
Damn, really? That's just a tough matchup. Like, I don't know exactly what they're doing there. You're throwing a kind of a little bit of a hyped up prospect from Canada who's 9-1. He's only 23 years old, and you're just going to toss him in there against Des Green. It's a bit of a rough introduction. Maybe he can shock the world. I don't really see it. Des Green's been almost possessed since he got in that car accident. I don't know. Maybe he grabbed the life.
Maybe
force.
he absorbed
the life
Danny
force.
Heatley. He absorbed Danny Heatley's life force, and now he's just taking over.
Yeah,
Wow.
so he's looked good. I know he lost the Tyson Ma fight, but pretty much everybody thought he won that fight. He crushed Ross Pearson. Now, Ross Pearson is he's just a bit past his prime.
He won his boxing debut.
Won a boxing fight on the weekend. Yeah, he's not in MMA anymore. My guess is Des Green wrestles his way to a win here. I think Jourdain's tough enough that he can survive. I expect it to go to decision. I bet that. I put it in a parlay with a fighter later on just for one unit. Yeah, I think Des Green is probably going to win a wide decision, and hopefully that underrates Jourdain for his next fight, and then maybe we can get a decent price on him.
Yeah, Jourdain's only loss was to a smaller, lesser skilled, lesser wrestler than Des Green. So I expect that he's going to end up on his back a little too much in this fight. But I feel like people are going to want to watch him again after this fight. Because even though he's probably losing a decision here, I think he's going to make it pretty entertaining for the parts that he has any control over. Next up, we have Sijara Eubanks against Aspen Ladd. Aspen Ladd's supposed to be pretty good, isn't she?
She got them yams.
Oh.
Does she?
She's knocking these ladies out. That's probably what she's going to do here.
Oh, yes, that seems like a thing that is unlikely to happen in a women's fight. But anyways, Wes, before we get to Sean seeming like he's going against the code, what do you got here?
Yeah, I think he's probably right. I think Eubanks has probably improved since they last fought, but Chick can't make weight for shit, so she's moving back up in weight, and she's probably going to be undersized here, and Ladd's probably going to use those yams and get on top and drop some bombs like she's been dropping on other people. So that's probably what's going to happen. I'm not laying 3-1 on any Chick though. Eubanks is still tough. She's got a couple of decent wins since coming off tough. So yeah, I'm not going to lay 3-1 here.
And new Sean, are you playing under 2.5 at plus 185?
Now let's not get crazy, Brad.
Okay.
I am laying the minus. I don't know what the fuck I laid. It was minus. I don't know if it was 300 when I played it. I'm just opening it up right now. I put her in that Des Green goes decision parlay. Yeah, it was minus 300. So I got those two bets at minus 114 just for a unit. Aspen Ladd has a shit ton of power. Been pretty impressed with all her fights. She was able to put away Tanya Evinger, and Evinger, we've seen how durable and tough she's been. As for Eubanks, she did okay against Modafari, but Aspen Ladd is not Roxanne Modafari. Eubanks will probably try to do some raping things because she is Team Rape Irvin, and so Ladd will have to watch for the chloroform and all that kind of stuff. But I think she'll be able to fight through it and possibly even finish Eubanks late.
Since we're on the topic, thank you, new Sean.
Yes, sir.
Number one, fuck out Irvin. And number two, do you think that the Twitter nerd fans would get all pissy if Chick used the rape choke like Von did to Keith Jardine?
They would probably depends. Is it against Rose? Because if it's not, if it's against like, I don't know, Amanda Nunes or fucking Cyborg, they don't give a shit. But if it's
Like,
somebody
oh man, that's so hot.
yeah, somebody who's like smaller and kind of cute and stuff like that, then
If
there's
it
big
happened to
problems.
Michelle Watterson,
Oh.
they would shit themselves.
Yeah, there would be some tears shed.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm going to assume that you guys know what you're talking about here, and Aspen Ladd wins, because she seems to be pretty decent as far as female fighters go. Actually, she's fun to watch just as, like, sort of any fighter, which is kind of nice. You don't see that a lot. Next up, lightweight division, we have he was an ADCC champion or something like that. He's good at grappling. Davi Ramos is facing the number two lightweight out of Iowa, the great state of Iowa. Their number two lightweight is facing a world.
How do they even get that?
Level grappler.
Because the dude's fucking fighting out of Colorado, so he just was born in Iowa, so that's where you're, like, those are always weird rankings when it comes to Tapology, where they decide.
Born in Illinois, fighting out of Denver. Yeah. I'm guessing that
ranked in Iowa.
Like, maybe LFA 56, where his last fight took place in Iowa. Maybe. Nope, it was in Minnesota.
No.
So maybe they just like centralized the location from when you're born to where you're fighting out of, where you fought
right
last.
in the center.
They triangulate the position, and that's where you're ranked.
Works.
That's
for
all
me.
I got.
Works
Wes,
for me.
Austin Hubbard he's gonna get put in the cupboard here, I think.
Yeah, I know he's ranked number 2, but I heard he's number 1 ranked bag boy at the fucking Iowa City Walmart that he was coming out of. Yeah, I don't have no clue about this matchup, man. I don't know why they're throwing some dude nicknamed Thud against fucking Davy Ramos on a Rochester, New York card. Some of this shit makes no sense whatsoever. Hubbard's actually kind of decent. I mean, he's got some decent wins on LFA, but man, come on, this is just way out of his league here. He's gonna get choked out. I use Ramos in my big chalk parlay. He's gonna roll here.
Sean?
Remember when they matched up John Gunther with Davi Ramos?
Yeah. Some of the guys they've given him, man.
We were there, Wes. We got to see Gunther get choked out, and
yeah.
we kind of knew that was going to happen. So, yeah, I think Hubbard's just over his head here. Ramos should be able to get this to the ground and use his elite jiu-jitsu to put this one away fairly early. It might have some issues if he can't put it away early, but I still expect that to happen. I put Davi Ramos in the 3-leg parlay at minus 450.
I just learned the wildest thing by going down a little rabbit hole of records here.
Oh shit!
Do you guys remember when Charles Oliveira landed the calf slicer on the UFC on Fox card?
Yep.
So that guy that he fought was Eric Wisely, who lost in the UFC a couple times and got cut, went over to Bellator and lost to John Alessio. But after that loss to John Alessio, he has gone on an 11-fight winning streak, including a victory over Austin Mother Hubbard. So yeah, if that guy can sub, or he didn't sub him, if that guy can beat Austin Hubbard, I'm pretty sure Davi Ramos can sub him, and that's like basically even money. So that's gonna happen. Speaking of subs, we got the submaster, we got Dubron taking on in the trilogy that everyone asked for, Nick Lentz. Guys, how pumped are you to watch the exact same thing happen once again for the third time? Wesley, starting with you.
I'm pumped. Can't you hear it by the sound of my voice?
As far as shitty fights go, though, one where you know that DeBronx is going to have some offensive success goes, it's not so bad.
No, I mean, I always love these kind of matchups for DeBronx. I mean, I don't fuck giving him some crazy top-heavy wrestler and shit, you know, like, this is the stuff we love. It blows my mind that Chucky Olives is still only like 29 years old, man. Like, you'd have to show me a fucking birth certificate, man. That dude's got to be a Cuban 29. There's just no fucking way. I think he's got a lot of. He's just better in a lot of areas than Lentz, man. He's gotten so much better, dude. All the fights that Chucky's had, man, he's improved so much, and we all know what's going to happen here, man. I think Nick Lentz is tough enough to probably get through the first, but we know he's going to need a pillow eventually. It's going to happen.
Sean?
Yeah, I have no idea why they're doing this. Like, with how big the fucking UFC roster is, we couldn't find anybody else for New Bronx to fight. We just had to throw him a guy to fight the third time. And when the
streak he's on? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he's won like 4 straight. Like, what? I don't know. Whatever. Regardless, New Bronx is going to put in work here. He just wants to keep adding to that sub record that he has. I expect him to do it here. Lentz has definitely improved a decent amount since their last fight, especially in the last 2. He looked good against Gray Maynard. I know that's not the hardest thing to do, and he looked decent against Holtzman, who's a decent athlete. But DuBronx is he's just a different dude, man. Like, his wrestling is so underrated. His striking actually is pretty decent. He landed some good shots in the Jim Miller fight and in the Tamer fight. This is going to be all DuBronx. I like Wes. I think maybe it could last until the second. DuBronx round 2 is what, plus 400? Is that what we saw it as? Like, I think that's kind of worth a shot there. Number. And then, yeah, I don't think even if he has a choice whether he could pound somebody out or choke them, I think he's going to try to choke them with all his might. He would rather go to a decision trying for chokes than get a TKO win. So submission, I think, is minus 135. I'm likely going to add that. I just think he's going to keep adding to that. Whether it's a guillotine or a rear naked, I don't think it matters. It's kind of whatever DuBronx wants it to be.
Yeah, he has 14 wins in the UFC, and 13 of them have come by submission. So I'm sure he probably has nights where he's like just up at night and pissed off again about Jeremy Stevens not subbing, not tapping out to anything that he threw at him in that fight. But every other guy that he's fought in the UFC that he's beaten, in the UFC, he's subbed. So I don't think that Nick Lentz, who is on that list once as a sub and once where he got called for an illegal knee, but he ended up subbing him as well. I don't think that it's unlikely that happens again. So I like DeBronx to come forward. He's going to throw a bunch of stuff to get Lentz to shoot, to get into a bunch of scrambles, and there's nobody that's as fun to watch or as dangerous in scrambles as some DeBronx. So he's going to get a sub. I think that Lentz is tough enough that he's going to get beaten up for the first round before he ends up turning this into a grappling match and getting caught with something. So I like the sub at minus 135, and I do like that round 2 prop for a quarter at plus 400. So those are the 5 dimes. They're not even 5 dimes anymore. They're the
MMA Analysis.
Unsolicited book. It's been a while since I've hosted you guys. This is the unsolicited, your corner bookie dealing out of his pocket bet of the week. We got Chucky Olives, Dobron, minus 135 for sub, plus 400 round 2. Now we've got another Brazilian who likes to get finishes, but originally started off with the subs, has switched it up a little bit in his more recent UFC run. Vicente Luque taking on late replacement, journeyman, regional king, D-Rock Krantz. Wesley?
Yeah. Old D-Rock has been pretty good down on the regional scene here recently. I think this is another guy that's just a little in over his head here. The one worry I do have about Luque in this fight is just the time off. Man, that was a really rough fight against our boy
Barbarino.
Our boy Chicken Parm down there in Arizona. Barbarina, man, that was a really tough out for Luque. So I just hope he got enough time off after that fight, man. But if that's all good, man, I think Krantz is in a world of hurt here, man. He's going to usually want to keep this standing on the feet, man, and he's just going to be outgunned against Luque. Luque is one of the best young strikers in the game, man. His hands are phenomenal. So, I think he's going to be able to piece up Krantz pretty good here. So, yeah, I like Luque, and I have him in my chalk parlay at a whole lot less than what he is now. At minus 1,000, you might want to maybe look at points handicap or something like that if you're going to do anything with him. But that's just a crazy line now, but he should get it done.
Sean?
Yeah, that Barbarino fight was only 3 months ago. That feels short considering the war it was. Luque was dropped a couple times in that first round, and even after that, Barbarina hit him with some big shots. That is a bit worrisome. And Luque, that chin, it's definitely been touched before that, but the skill difference here is huge. I think Luque, if he wanted to, he could probably just take this guy down and sub him, even though his boxing is pretty damn good as well. I think Luque gets him out of there, probably TKO or might rock him and then sub him, but I can't touch that price. So I'll just pick Luque, and then I closed that 3-leg parlay with Dubronx. I got Dubronx, Ramos, and Arce at minus 120 for 1U.
Those are definitely some nicer prices than are available currently. I just think this is that's some CLV, Sean. CLV.
Some beautiful CLV.
Krantz. It's nice that he's getting this shot in the UFC, but there's a reason that he's been around for as long as he has without getting to the UFC.
Yep.
Because when he faces guys that are a lower caliber of UFC fighter than Vicente Luque is, he loses, and he falls back down that regional ladder. So I fully expect that to happen in this fight. I didn't really look at the line because I knew it was going to be ridiculous. I figure that the props on Luque are probably going to be pretty ridiculous as well, unless you really have a feeling that he's going to take him down and sub him. I'd probably stay away from the basically even money prop on KO, and just generally stay away from this fight where it is now. Next up, third last fight from the top, women's featherweight division. We have Megan Anderson. Yes, I pronounced her name properly, Megan, taking on Felicia Spencer. I have no idea who that is. She's Canadian, and it says she's the number 6 featherweight worldwide, which that's just a frightening thought. Anyways, Wes, are we wasting our time here?
Old girl's Invicta champ, I think. Megan Anderson's got a lot of sweet tattoos, so I'm going to pick her.
Sean?
Yeah, I think it's pretty simple. If the fight stays on the feet, Anderson probably knocks her out. If Spencer can get it to the ground, then Spencer probably subs Anderson because she's pretty terrible on the ground. Just a stay away fight any which way. No, thank you.
What I heard is that the under 2.5 is a stone cold 10-unit Scud missile lock.
Damn.
That's what that sounded like to me, Sean.
Ooh, bombs
You
over
seem real
Baghdad.
confident. You seem that real confident that this women's fight is going to get finished.
Ugh.
So,
You know how
I'm just
Lance
emptying.
will never play overs? It's really tough for me to play unders in chick fights. I did play one last weekend. I just don't want any part of this fight because if it goes to decision, I'm just going to be like, well, I bet this to finish, so I lose that way, and I probably just watched an absolutely shitty fight, so it's a double whammy. It's a tough one.
That sounds like fun. In that spirit, I'm going to bet Spencer by decision because it's plus 525.
Decent.
Yeah. Next up, co-main event. We've got old ball coaches, old BJ's boy Ian Heine
Heine.
taking on the shoe face. Wesley, is it going to be? Is the boot going to go up the Heine, or what are we looking at here?
Yeah, at first I think this is a pretty close fight, but man, I fear the weekly Twitter mush got put on our boy coming out of Rikers, man. Everybody and their mom is on Heinisch in this fight, and I just think it's gonna be a pretty tough fight for him, man. I mean, he likes to get inside and mix it up, man, and get things ugly, and that's kind of, I think, what Shoeface is going to want, man. And, dude, this gets to the mat, and I just that guy's legit, man. There's just not many dudes that he's not gonna sub if this gets on the mat for any amount of time. And, yeah, that's the way I'm leaning, man. I think it's close, but I don't think Heinisch can keep this on the feet for 15 minutes, man, to where he's not going to be getting into some trouble on the mat. And I think that's going to be the difference in the fight. So, yeah, I like Shoeface here, man. And I'm just watching this line kind of trickle on down a little bit, and going to wait a little bit longer and probably get a little bit on Shoeface the day of the fights.
Did you guys see Ben out here talking about middles and hedges for the second half of this game?
Boy,
man, this
your
dude.
motherfucking your tax refund's gone, dude. You ain't hedging in middle and shit, motherfucker. Shut up.
Oh man, you gotta love this kid. The dedication to the craft is
The gift
just
that keeps on
otherworldly. Oh. Yeah, new Sean, what do we got here?
Heinisch is fighting out of Factory X. They've had a bit of a good streak recently with some guys doing a lot better than they probably should. One thing, Factory X, they seem to have some issues with grappling, making some kind of dumb decisions, dropping for guillotines, and just not getting off the cage when they are fighting a guy that wants to take him down. So Heinisch is definitely, hopefully doesn't do that for his sake, but I think that might happen. Shoeface is pretty good, man, especially early on. His takedowns are decent, and when he's on the ground, he's a pretty good finisher. I think he can get us. What I think the path for him is a sub in the first round. That's probably what's going to happen. If it doesn't, I still think he can be there in the second. The third might get a little sketchy if he doesn't get him out of there. But I think Shoeface's jiu-jitsu is obviously really good, and I think his grappling is going to be enough to get it down. On the feet, it could get sketchy, but I got to side with Shoeface. And It's always not a bad thing to be on the opposite side of a very, very public side. So I ended up taking Shoeface at minus 181 for a unit. It's pretty piss poor negative CLV, but what can you do?
You know what else Factory X really struggles with? If they don't get that pre-fight leg kick talk, you know, those Kamosi brothers, they can really struggle defending the leg kicks. You know, you gotta make sure that you remind them. They're like a kid with ADHD, constant reminders, man. Redirection. Anyways, in this fight, I kind of agree with you guys. I think that we know exactly what Heinisch is going to come out and do. He's strong. He's a powerful guy. He's a decent wrestler. He wants to get on top of you, and he wants to just beat the shit out of you. And I think he's going to struggle with getting on top of Shoeface, especially early in this fight, because Shoeface is even bigger and stronger than Heinisch. And even if he does get on top, I don't think that he's going to have a ton of success in this, either in terms of holding Shoeface down or in terms of getting off any offense. I think that Shoeface is going to turn it into a scramble pretty quick and either reverse them or they're going to get back to their feet. And I really don't see a ton of difference. Obviously, there's power on the feet, so you got to be a little bit concerned about that. But I don't think that Heinisch is a particularly good striker, other than the power. So there's a lot of things here that I like for Shoeface, just in terms of the matchup and the things that he doesn't have to worry about. So I'm going to side with him. I think that he can either get it down early, get on top, and get a sub, or I think he's actually going to be able to make Heinisch work enough that he's going to get tired, and it's going to be a very interesting, close fight into the final round. Next up, main event. Two guys used to fight at 155, now fighting at 170. We've got Hardy A taking on the Motown Phenom. Is he still the Motown Phenom? Does he have any allegiance to Detroit anymore? Kevin Lee. Wes, these are the questions that people want to know.
I have no fucking idea. Yeah, this is I don't know, it's a little kind of a weird fight to me. I would probably have a little kind of different look of this fight if Lee didn't get the absolute shit beat out of him by Al Aquenta, and then Al going and looking as bad as he did against Cowboy. I just don't know if you should read that much into that fight about Kevin Lee. Like, is it saying he's that bad, or just Al had a bad performance against Cowboy? Because, man, Kevin Lee looked really bad in that fight. But, man, our RDA is getting up there, man. I think the Wars might be catching up with him. He's taken some pretty bad beatings the past year or so. And, I mean, I just think if Kevin Lee kind of does the same game plan as Usman and Covington kind of did, that he could probably lay that same sort of kind of grinding fight on RDA at this point. Don't know if RDA has been as good once he moved up to 170. It doesn't seem like he has the same pop that he did down at 155 and now getting up into his mid-30s and stuff. So I kind of lean Kevin Lee here, but, man, I'm just something about that Al loss, man, and it kind of worries me a little bit, or I would probably be on Kevin Lee kind of big here. Probably still going to bet him. It's just there's some things, some red flags to me in this fight. So I haven't bet him yet, but he's going to be the pick, and I'll probably have a tiny bet on him.
Sean?
There's been lots of talk about Kevin Lee moving up, and people saying that there's been no signs of people going from bad cardio to elite cardio when they move up and stuff like that. But I tend to believe that he's going to have better cardio. I don't know if it's going to be elite. It's going to be tough. some guys just don't have cardio. They can train as hard as they want, and they somehow still don't have it. Kevin Lee, the big thing with him going up is going to be his chin. I think his chin is going to be a lot better. This is going to be a tough fight, though, because Kevin Lee really has to get you down, or else he's probably going to get lit up on the feet. Dos Anjos, obviously, the last two guys he's fought have been elite wrestlers and been able to take him down. Kevin Lee's a damn good wrestler too. I don't know if he's not up to those guys' level, but he's pretty damn good. RDA has good takedown defense against guys that aren't elite, not great. I do think Kevin Lee can get him down and do some damage on the ground. It's going to be a close fight. RDA could definitely have some success on the feet, and if Kevin Lee could look lost out there if he doesn't get the fight to the ground, but I kind of expect him to be able to get it to the ground. I took him at minus 101 just for 1 unit. I think it's just a small edge there. Very close fight. Hopefully it's exciting, and I guess we'll see what happens.
Ooh, shit.
There's only a handful of guys that have been able to really out-wrestle RDA, and they've been guys that are significantly bigger than him to begin with, and also very, very good wrestlers. Yep. So you've got Usman. Even against Covington, he got a bunch of takedowns in that fight. So that wasn't a complete wipeout in terms of the grappling. And then you have to go back to like the Khabib fight. So
didn't Safin get him down a couple times, and we were like, "What the fuck is happening?" I know that was his first fight.
He took him down once.
Oh, okay. It was only
took him down once, I think, in the first round.
Yeah,
of that fight.
And that was the first time of him going up to 170. So that kind of throws a bit of a wrench into that, but.
And I think that was more of a game plan thing than like he was just like, "What the fuck? Why are you taking me down?"
Yeah.
So I think that's as much to do with that as anything. So I think that he's going to have success defending Lee's takedowns, and even if he does struggle a little bit, I think he's going to make Lee work. He's going to be good enough off of his back that Lee's not going to be able to just take his back and sub him. So that means that Lee's going to have to keep repeating it. And in some fights, like in the Barbosa fight, as Barbosa started to tire, Lee's takedowns came a little bit easier, if I recall. I don't think that's going to be the case in this fight. You've got RDA, who's used to going pretty deep in fights, and even pretty deep in some losing fights. And I don't think that he's going to fade like Lee needs a guy to fade to be able to dominate him for 5 rounds. So Lee might start strong, but eventually I think this is going to turn into a bit more of a stand-up battle. And even though Lee's got a little bit of power, a little bit of speed, I think by the time this turns into the striking realm, a lot of that's going to be sapped from him already. And it's going to turn into RDA just being the better striker. So as long as he doesn't get clipped with anything big, and I don't think that's a huge concern against Lee, I think that he's probably going to win on points after coming back a little bit in this fight. Of course, we have seen Lee take the back of some pretty damn good grapplers and tap him out kind of surprisingly. So wouldn't be completely shocking if he did that to RDA. I just think it's more likely that RDA has a bit of a rebound here against a guy that isn't a significantly bigger elite wrestler. So no bet for me because I don't do the kind of research necessary
after all
to
that. No
bet these fights.
Come on. I felt like you were really liking RDA here.
Yeah, I guess I am, but you know. I need to do my tape study before I bet it.
Fair.
Haven't done the tape study yet.
Yep.
We'll see if I can sneak it in between beers at the cottage on Saturday afternoon. So
in between skinnings.
That's right. Hey man, them animals ain't gonna jump out of their own skin for me to cook them. Anyways. we're gonna sign off. Do you guys have anything you want to add for the folks before we get out of here?
We actually get a week off next weekend. You guys the Americans get a free UFC free Memorial Day weekend.
Man, they really don't want to compete with the NCAA lacrosse finals.
Oh, that's for sure what it is.
That's right.
Yeah, the next fight card is until the next weekend. It's in Sweden.
We get a morning.
We get to see the Horse Lord.
Ooh. Are they also putting the new face of Swedish and Norwegian and probably some other Scandinavian countries, Jack Hermansson, in there?
No,
is he going to fight on that card?
That's too quick of a turnaround. He's it's Gustafsson versus Anthony Smith is the main event there. The co-main is Volkan versus the Horse Lord.
What a slacker! He's not going to fight like a month after he just beat Jacare in the biggest win of his career.
Yeah,
which is only a month after he beat David Branch, which was the biggest win in his career.
Yeah, he doesn't want to roll snake eyes. He's on a bit of a heater, and
some guys just don't want it bad enough, eh?
Yeah, guess not.
If that was Ben, he'd go all in.
Oh, Ben goes in all the time, like every card.
Speaking of which, man, he's looking all right now.
Yeah, we'll see.
But it's still the Warriors.
Yeah.
Oh, they've gone on a 13-0 run.
Yep.
So.
It's
all
and shit.
It's all falling apart. Oh man, I'm gonna tune into this. You guys do what you need to do, but that's gonna wrap it up for the MMA analysis this week.